Hey, so get this. Yesterday, I buy those CDs. I got 1,100 of them for $220. It's great, and I'm listening to them. It's you can't beat the price, right? Met a cool guy. We'll probably get together later. He's going to sell me all the classical CDs he gets because he really collects rock and buys out record stores, stuff like that. So I got to go down to Covington after that, which is about a half hour south. And the traffic around there is just an absolute killer. So I, put it in my GPS, Covington. It's just a maze of fucking traffic. So I'm about 2 miles away from getting those CDs, and I'm stopped to make a right turn, and I get my GPS, and I got it sitting down like in the console, and I grab it and I look at it to just make sure that this is where I turn south. And about the time that I did that, a motorcycle cop pulls right up next to me. I got the window down. It's a nice day. It's not hot yet. And I knew right then. I said, me? He said, yep. I said, where do you want me to pull over? He said, well, pull over in that drugstore. It was a Walgreens or a CVS or something like that. So, and there's another fucking cop in there with his lights on there on a motorcycle. It was writing somebody else a ticket. So, he comes up to the thing. I said, any words to the wise? He said, yeah, be honest. I said, yeah, okay. I'll be honest. I said, well, you be honest too. He said, yeah, always. And he said, is this your car? I said, yeah. He said, why isn't it your name? Well, Marty and I, we really swapped. He wanted my 150. This came up. He bought it. We've got plates and insurance on the fucking things, but we just haven't put them in each other's name. We don't give a fuck, right? We will, right? And I also have not switched my Michigan driver's license. And the reason for that to Georgia is because I tried to do it once. I didn't have enough bullshit, utilities in my name, all this shit. And I couldn't find a certified state birth certificate. Well, I eventually found it, right? So it was coming up in fall, and my fucking birthday's in January, and my driver's license was coming up. I still at that time hadn't found my birth certificate, so I just was up there fucking around doing something. No, I did it on the mail. I did it online. I found out you could do it online, and they'll yet let you use an out-of-state address one time for 1 year. So it's like fucking perfect. So I renewed the thing online for who knows, 5 or 6 years, and I thought I'm still going to switch down to Georgia, but it saved me of an expired driver's license, right? So I give my driver's license. He said, well, a Georgia car, Michigan driver's license. I said, well, we're being honest, right? He said, yeah. He said, well, how long you been down here? I said, well, being honest, 3 years this month. He said, you're supposed to. I said, I know. Yep. And he said, have you ever been pulled over for talking on your phone before? I said, yeah, as a matter of fact, I was. About 6 months ago. It's the same fucking bullshit. My phone was falling off my dash at a Home Depot. I exited. I grabbed the motherfucker, and I put it on the seat, and I got pulled over. And it's the same shit you're doing. The guy said he saw me touching my fucking cell phone. I wasn't talking. He said, well, you don't need to be talking on it. I said, yeah, fuck, I know that. But, I wasn't talking on it. I just grabbed the goddamn thing to keep it from falling any farther, and the fucking cops saw it, and I got a fucking ticket. I said, but I don't remember if it was a state program or a fucking county program. But if you went in there and you said you had a hands-free device, which I had, and you showed it to them with the receipt, they'd let you go on the first one. You had to sign an affidavit that you'd never been pulled over for that before. So I fucking did, and I got the fuck out of it. And I said, now, today, same fucking bullshit. I said, I can't believe I'm getting pulled over for this bullshit. And he said, it's not bullshit. He said, there's people that lose their lives doing what you did. I said, hey, wait a second. Now, we're being honest, right? He said, yeah. I said, there is nobody that lost their life over what you just saw me do. I used discretion. And that's why when the legislature considered a law, they knew they were going to get bullshitted left and fucking right by careless people. They were going to say, well, you were talking on the phone. No, I wasn't talking. I was warming my ear or some shit like that. I was seeing if the music was playing, anything but talking, right? So they just figured they'd wrap it all up into one law and give law enforcement agents the discretion to realize an unsafe idiot from someone that just did something that wasn't unsafe. And that's your job. So I pulled up here and I touched that fucking phone, which I know I'm not supposed to do. Traffic was stopped. No cars were moving. And nobody has ever been killed doing that. Ever. Anywhere. You can't give me one example because I wasn't even moving. Just an older guy wanting to go the right fucking way, touching this fucking phone. And he actually burst out laughing. I said, you have the discretion to decide, am I an unsafe idiot? Or is I just a fucking old guy trying not to get lost on whether or not I'm going to get a fucking ticket? And he's sitting there thinking about this. Now, this happened to me in Glacier National Park about 4 years ago, too. And I got the ticket there. I had a camera on. So he came back to the car. This is no shit. And he said, you know what? You're right. Have a good day. I said, I'm not getting a fucking ticket? He said, no. You're right. And this is good talking to you. And we get bullshit, and he just had a house built. We talked for another half hour. But he actually let me go. Can you believe that shit? And I know I shouldn't be fucking doing it. But it made my day. Because, you know, that you do get a point for it. And I didn't realize this either until I got that bullshit ticket with Daisy. That time where I got it reduced down to fucking jaywalking or some shit, you know, just looking for money. But when you get those tickets, like a cracked windshield or a loud muffler and all that bullshit, that, believe it or not, that still affects your insurance. I always thought that, you know, it was all related to points and, you know, what kind of stuff you did. That is true. It is related to that. But they still consider your risk level, I guess, assuming that you're driving around with like a defective car that may increase an incident or likelihood of an accident. So I don't know if it went up or it didn't. They never tell you, right? But I do know it's calculated in your annual premium. So the moral of the story is, be honest. I got it broke off my ass last night, but not yesterday. So party on.